All you homeowners have unique needs. Some feel the need to leave up holiday decorations year round. Others have the need to use their garage as practice space for their new metal band. And because each homeowner has unique needs, Geico helps you get the right coverage for your home and what's in it. That way, you get exactly what's right for you, even if your needs are unique. Get more with Geico.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Free Terrible Gamers. I'm your host Colin here with Ashton.
Hey guys, what's up?
Got one left over from last week, well technically two, but we're not covering the other one because it's irrelevant now. But Xbox reportedly sold 2 million consoles last year.
Yep, it says it is no surprise that the famous console wars era is now officially over, with PlayStation coming out on top of this generation in many departments. However, no one would have expected such a huge divide to form between both giants in hardware sales over the years. Now, a report suggests that Xbox only managed to roll over approximately 2 million units last year, a stark contrast when compared to how well PlayStation 5 performed throughout 2024. It says Xbox only selling 2 million units worldwide in the last 12 months is quite a concerning development, but it also explains why the brand is shifting towards a multi platform and software focused strategy. The latest quarterly earnings report by Take Two reveals that over 94 million current gen consoles were sold worldwide as of November 2024. It is a notable difference from 2023's 77 million based on the figure provided by Take-Two's last year. And it says out of these 94 million, Xbox is said to have only sold about 29 million. So, I mean, I seen this and I was like, that's not really a surprise to me because, like, I think they got one more generation out of them and then they're just done with consoles altogether. They're shifting more towards Game Pass. They're not even worried about exclusives anymore because I mean, there's rumors all the time that Halo's going to PlayStation and Switch 2, and I mean they've already put a bunch of games on Switch 2, and I mean on the Switch and PlayStation. So it's not a surprise that I mean they know that the console wars belong to Sony. They have since the Xbox One, PlayStation 4 generation. So I mean, technically 360 era belonged to Microsoft, but after that, it's been all Sony. And then, of course, Nintendo's just in their own world.
Yeah. Which Microsoft came out, I believe it was today, which I didn't make it a topic, but I guess a little technical bonus for you guys. Microsoft came out and basically said, yeah, it's one of those situations to where they wouldn't be able to survive without Xbox. So Xbox is still obviously going to exist in probably the capacity that Ashton's saying.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes sense from what they was saying with that today. It was like, oh yeah, basically Microsoft, like obviously the computers and stuff would do fine, but their company would definitely take a big tank if Xbox stopped doing what Xbox does.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean,
But
and like I said, Xbox can still exist without consoles. They got Game Pass,
Mhm.
and then I think they'll they might still be in the handheld market even after the consoles are gone because we've went over it a couple times about their handheld being rumored, and Phil Spencer's already pretty much confirmed that yes, the handheld is coming. So I think they'll have their handheld and then one more actual home console, and then after that they'll just stick with Game Pass and maybe stick with handhelds every couple years or something, maybe.
Yeah, and basically make it like a little miniature PC
Mm-hmm. Like
with
uh,
Microsoft built.
like my handheld PC. You know, that'd be perfect with Game Pass,
Mhm.
portable Xbox, pretty much. And I mean, obviously they have the Windows operating system and they own it, so they could easily make a more handheld friendly version of it for their specific console. So
Yeah,
it's just easy
they
money
wouldn't.
for them.
Yeah, and they wouldn't have to worry about like branching out to like Android or any other company to be like they got their own operating system with
Right. They don't even
Windows.
have to pay for it.
Yeah,
So it's just
Well, I mean,
perfect.
company to company, they probably have to, but obviously heavily discounted and pretty much a given.
Yeah. They're
Because
not
I'm sure
losing
money,
money from it.
yeah, no. They're still seeing the money at the end of the day.
Yeah. So it's just, I mean, that's a win for Microsoft to make a handheld because it'll by far be better than the PlayStation Portal. So just right
Mhm.
out of the gate, as long as they make it to where you can download stuff to your handheld, which Phil Spencer's already confirmed pretty much that that's what would happen. You know, it's not going to be streaming only because that's a stupid idea.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you have nothing to stream to, then it's kind of a pointless thing as well.
Well, I mean, Game Pass,
Just
you can do
download.
cloud. They could make it
Yeah.
to where Game Pass is cloud only, but
I don't, I mean, yeah, I guess they're taking a step in that direction by having it because they're testing it out. Because if they're going to test it out, that's their eventual mindset in the future. Maybe not in the next 5 years, but probably in 10, 15 years.
I think right now just the cloud just is for people that don't have storage on their consoles or the PC or whatever, or it's just something that you can quickly dive into a game like you for your TV, you know, but it's not something that's not a long term fix. It's just
No.
a temporary fix if you want a quick game or if you have no storage. It's not something that in the next 20 years is going to be normal that everybody's going to be cloud gaming and that's the only way to play. That's never going to happen because there's always going to be way too much input lag for competitive games like Call of Duty and Fortnite and stuff for that to be the norm. I don't care how
Yeah,
good
but
internet speeds get, there's always going to be more input lag with cloud and it's not going to work with first person shooters.
there is going to be input lag, but then you got the situation with people that, like you said, don't want to get extra storage or can't get extra storage and everything else. Yeah, storage is getting cheaper year by year because, you can go out there and buy a few gigabytes of storage for, 10, $15 now.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm going to say terabytes for 10, $15, not gigabytes. But, just at the end of the day, we're as a games are only getting bigger too. So therefore, that's going to be harder to just have one game not take up everything. Like right now, Call of Duty's taking up 312 gigabytes of my storage. So almost a third of my storage, even though it's partitioned out.
Yeah.
So it basically has its one whole drive to itself. So as games get bigger, that may actually be a reality. Opposed to I don't care how good, and they don't care how good the internet speed is or the input lag is. If you're a casual gamer but don't have no space, that's what you're going to go to. Yeah, the competitive gamers are probably going to try to get it local and everything else, but if it comes down to just casually playing games like most gamers are, then you're probably going to go for that route. Yeah, if it's an online game, you're going to try to get best version of it you can. But if you're just playing like a single player game or whatever, then you're probably just going to stick to cloud gaming, especially as those grow in size too.
Yeah. Yeah. Like single player games, that's fine, but competitive shooters, it will never be. Cloud gaming will never be the option, will never be the key to it. Just can't. Internet speed will never be that good.
I say in about 50 years it could be.
I don't know. I mean, it's 2025 and not everybody even has Wi Fi at their house. So,
I mean, it's true, but that's mainly, well, yeah, it happens some here in the United States, but that's mainly across the world, though.
yeah, I mean, it is here too, though.
Yeah.
I mean, look, just in West Virginia, like there's some places you can't get Frontier or Suddenlink, and HughesNet's trash. Yeah, Starlink's good, but it's still satellite, so
Mm-hmm.
it's not hardwired. I mean, I don't even use hardwired like internet. I use T-Mobile internet, like, but it's good. You know, I hardwire my PC to it, so it's basically about the same as Suddenlink. But I mean, still satellite. Yeah, it can be. It can get to where it's as good as landline internet, so to say. But to me, just cloud gaming will never be good for competitive shooting.
Yeah. And you think like how you mentioned T-Mobile, eventually the cell phone company providers that are going into the internet market with T-Mobile, Verizon, I think AT&T is
Yeah.
still, as they get better and faster technology, they're going to match it too because they're already matching it, and it's been out for a heck of a lot less time than what Suddenlink has ever been out.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, 5G just completely opened the gates with that to be able for
Yeah.
them to have those speeds.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's no way they could have got those speeds with just LTE. There's no way.
Yeah. And I mean, hate to break it to you, I say probably within the next 2, 3, 5 years, we'll probably have a 6 or 7G, whatever they decide to jump to. I wouldn't surprise me if they try to jump up to like a 10G randomly,
Yeah.
but you know, that time's coming too, and in theory, it'd be twice as fast as what it is now,
Mm-hmm.
which would far be surpassing your Suddenlink internet theory. It'll
Right.
eventually get to that point. It's just who can get it, who can't.
Right. That's the point. That's the entire point is who can get it.
But I dare say, more than likely, if you don't have internet, more than likely you're not playing video games anyways.
That's
Unless you're
not
playing on,
completely true.
not no, not completely. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I'm probably 92% right on that.
I mean,
And so,
not.
yeah, you'll have the occasional person that still has an N64 in their closet, but I'm talking like playing current games.
I mean, they probably would play current games if they had internet. That you just
Yeah,
can't because you don't have it. You
yeah.
can't even download a stinking game to your console, even if you have the disc. That's not their fault. That's the game company's fault.
I mean, I remember 2012 for me with Frontier. I I completely understand,
Exactly. Yeah.
and that's with having internet, but just sucky internet,
Mm-hmm.
barely faster than dial-up.
So it's not for those people that don't play games. It's not that they abandon the games; they don't want to play games. It's just they can't because basically the game developers and the console makers abandoned them because they think
That's
everybody has internet and they don't.
true, but at the
Except for
end of the day,
Nintendo. Nintendo,
yeah,
you can play their games without internet. Nintendo still
but
thinks back in the 90s, pretty much.
they still download your games, which I guess technically downloads it locally, but still, which is
If you have a
weird.
cartridge, it doesn't download it unless it's 2K.
Oh yeah, never mind. I had Tears of the Kingdom download. I was like, wait a second. I was like, but never mind. I bought Breath of the Wild hard copy, but Tears of the Kingdom isn't.
Yeah.
All right, that one definitely went over one longer than I expected it to. New PS3 emulator releases for Android.
All right. I got quite a bit for this. It says recently a new PS3 emulator was released for Android called a PS3E, generating some initial excitement in the retro community among those who had been waiting for a new way to play their favorite PS3 games on Android handhelds. However, shortly after the emulator began to make the rounds online, it quickly became clear that all was not quite as above board as initially believed. The crux of the problem comes down to this: a PS3E is only a partially open source emulator, but reportedly contains code from the existing PS3 emulator, RPCS3, which is currently unavailable for Android, without adhering to the conditions of its GPL v2 license. This license states that any modified code based on RPCS3 must also be released publicly in full, something that the creator of APS3E has so far failed to do. There are also suggestions that the project is using code from other projects too, including Termux, potentially throwing up even further issues. To make matters even more controversial, APS3E's developer, Anu, who is based in China, also seems to be requesting money to release the full source code, originally stating that they would publish the code when donations reached $5,000 before reducing the amount to $2,000. And all of this has led to a representative for the RPCS3 development team raising an issue with the developer of the project's GitHub, requesting that they publish the modified RPCS3 source code in full as the license dictates. And then I think this is from the Anu developer of AP PS3E or whatever. It says, "Hello, I'm writing on behalf of the RPC S3 development team." Nope, it's from the RPC development team. As such, this is a formal request for you to comply with the GPL v2 license, which RPC S3 is licensed under, and publish the modified RPC S3 source code for your binaries accordingly. Best regards, Annie. And it says, in response, ANU seems to be ignoring this criticism and is sticking to their initial plan, stating that they won't make the project fully open source until 2,000 amount is reached. In the meantime, it appears that the project has been reported to GitHub according to the Termux package maintainer. So, if I were you, out of all of that, just avoid this emulator right now.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like that it's not even that optimized anyway to run very many games, and then they're basically selling their source code illegally because they're using the official RPC S3 PS3 emulator, which is very good, and basically they stole their code, even though it's open source. It's not really stealing, but it is kind of stealing if you use somebody else's code and then try to make a profit off of it. So I would just avoid it until either they stop trying to sell the source code or RPC S3 just makes a Android app, which they probably will. I'd say within the next 2 or 3 years, probably, because RPC S3 on Windows, like I said, is very good. It's very optimized for very many games. So,
All you homeowners have unique needs. Some feel the need to leave up holiday decorations year-round. Others have the need to use their garage as practice space for their new metal band. And because each homeowner has unique needs, Geico helps you get the right coverage for your home and what's in it. That way, you get exactly what's right for you, even if your needs are unique. Get more with Geico.
And a PS3E, you don't realize they can technically get sued by two people.
oh yeah, yeah.
They can get sued by the people they just stole the source code from, even though it was an open source. And they can also get sued by Sony.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's technically not a qualified open source.
Right.
I don't like that. Yeah, so at the end of the day, yeah, there's a new emulator for Androids, but definitely avoid it for now. Initially thought it was good news until I started reading further down an article like Ashton was doing just now. I'm just like, oh, okay, this is pretty cool. But I was like, oh, wait, never mind.
Yeah. Yeah, you first sent it to me. It's like, oh, okay, that's cool. And then I read the article. Like, oh, that guy's kind of crappy.
Huh. But I think like Android Authority like stepped in too on it
Yeah, they did.
as their security team.
Mm-hmm. They did.
Just like, this is a little weird.
If Android Authority is kicking in for an app, it's better to stay away from it.
Yeah.
Because there's so much crap on Android that they don't step in for that they probably should. So if they actually do, don't mess with it.
Yeah. Yeah, the fact that Android stepped in, I was like, holy crap. I was like, you don't ever hear about Android Authority.
No. You should
They're
more,
usually
but you don't.
Yeah. Like they just, they exist, but you never hear them mentioned on anything.
No.
Oh, Android got hacked. Cool. Yeah, this happened.
That's normal.
Android Authority is nowhere to be seen.
Yeah.
A random PS3 emulator, Android Authority steps in.
Yeah.
Like the FTC on Xbox.
Yeah. Stupid. So it's just somebody from China trying to make a profit. That's all it is. Off of somebody else's work, basically.
Yep. I mean, at least they lowered it by $3,000. Well, is it actual US dollars or is it yen?
They have it labeled as US dollars on the article.
Gotcha. I didn't see it in the article. That's why I'm just like, I'm curious. I'm just like, because if it's yen, that's really not that much.
Yeah. Yeah, it has a US dollar sign up before it. So.
Okay. And yeah, it's a few yen.
Yeah, quite a few.
So Avowed came out on my birthday, and apparently it's been a talked about game on Game Pass and everything else, so we got the reviews for it.
Yeah. So it came out on Xbox and PC. For PC, it was a 78 on Metacritic with 65 critic reviews. On Xbox Series X, it is an 80 from 76 critic reviews. And then, like I said, it released on February 18th on Colin's birthday. And then the user score is 6.7 out of 648 users. So kind of an okay game, not great, not too bad either. So kind of mid.
My understanding, it's an online game too.
Which, I mean, for an online game, that's not a bad score. Usually they do like 60s.
Yeah, but I guess it's like a Elder Scrolls situation, but obviously not from Bethesda.
And I've
Never really
heard
think, but
about it coming up, but I didn't know exactly when it was releasing.
yeah, I didn't know it was releasing, but I was like, oh, people's actually talking about it now. Because whenever I was scrolling looking for topics today, it's literally every other topic was talking about Avowed. I'm just like, okay, a lot of people's obviously into this game. So there's already 500 topics that I could cover on it, but I'm just like, I'm not going to cover 500 topics on one game for a
Right.
podcast.
Yeah.
Not a very good business move on our part. I mean, yeah, there's been times where we talked about just one or two topics in the whole thing, but there was a lot of stuff going on inside of it.
All right. Interesting
Not
topics.
not just this game that came out at the time of recording 3 days ago.
Yeah.
So, I
It
mean,
has
yeah,
an
we talked
80
about,
on Metacritic, so it's not even like the best game out there. It's just okay.
yeah, not even an technical must play.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it was an 80 on Metacritic from what I've seen. Obviously, there was really nothing to compare it on because if you are going to compare it to the Elder Scrolls series,
Yeah.
then it's well below those
Oh,
because I
yeah.
think the lowest one for those are like an 85,
Yeah.
and everything like Morrowind is a 96. I think Skyrim is an actual, I think it's a 92, 93
Uh,
still, and it's been out since 2012 ish.
forever.
So yeah. Which, I mean, I guess technically I could compare it to Elder Scrolls Online, but at the same point, it's still, I think, higher than that.
Mm-hmm.
I might check it out. It may be my, what was that game in like the 2023 Game Awards? That puzzle game that we kept on making fun of.
Uh, Crap. I can't remember.
Never did I. Yet again, in a couple weeks, that's what Avowed's going to be. I can't remember.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like it's not even released on all consoles. It's PC and Xbox. That's it. Not even PlayStation. So,
Alright. Marvel Rivals to Switch 2 rumored.
all right. In a new interview with IGN, Marvel Rivals producer Wei Kong Wu has confirmed that the developer is open to releasing the game on the Nintendo Switch 2. The Marvel Heroes based shooter has been a smash hit with players since its launch back in December, amassing 20 million players within 2 weeks of its release. The popular shooter has already been released on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and PC, but the game had yet to come to Switch, with game director Thaddeus Sass previously stating that the game would not be coming to Switch. Internet outlet IGN spoke to producer Wu at the DICE Summit in Las Vegas, where Wu said, "We're already in contact with Nintendo and working on some development kits. And whenever we find that we could provide great performance on our game on Switch 2, we're open to that." The reason why we didn't launch it onto the Switch, it was the first generation of that device. They cannot provide a great experience for our gameplay, so if it could achieve that goal, we're open to that. Woo, I don't think that's going to be an issue getting that game to run on the Switch 2. So
Nah. Sure.
if the rumors are true of how powerful it is, just right behind the Series S, they won't have no issue running that game.
Definitely not. Which, I mean, I think it'd be in Marvel's and Disney's technical best interest to put it on the Switch.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, most
2.
kids get a Switch or Switch 2, they'll get and most kids play Marvel or Disney games, so makes sense.
Be a good business move for both companies.
Yep.
All right. We're going on to my clickbait for today. I even got Ashton excited.
Yeah.
Pokemon wins copyright case.
Yeah. So just the first 3 points here are summary, and then I'll get into the bigger stuff here. The Pokemon Company won a lawsuit against Kwangzu Maki Network Technology over the game Pocket Monster Remake. The game featured assets that appear to be directly taken from the Pokemon franchise, leading to a copyright infringement case. Kwang Hu Machi Zhu, I'm going to pronounce it like 4 different times. But anyway, Kwang Zhu Machi Network Technology issued an apology for using Pokemon assets without permission. And then says the Pokemon Company, Kwangzu Monkey Network Technology, and their respective affiliates have reached a legal settlement over the mobile game Pocket Monster Remake, with the court ultimately ruling in favor of the Pokemon Company. Gamers have seen Nintendo and its affiliates involved in various lawsuits over the years, and occasionally fans disagree with their decisions, but it's quite easy to spot overlaps between the game produced by the defendants and classic Pokemon content that made this case worth the trouble. It's particularly well known across the gaming communities that the Pokemon Company and Nintendo are targeting Palworld, but it says if there's a case to be made for copyright infringement, chances are that often that these companies are or already have looked into the matter. Let's see. Okay, it says another situation shows what it looks like when the copyright infringement is more plainly apparent. In the gameplay of Pocket Monster Remake, the player can be seen battling iconic Pokemon like Primal Kyogre Clefairy. I have no idea who that Pokemon is. And Primal Groudon while using their own Primal Kyogre Arceus and a somewhat redesigned Latias. I haven't been into Pokemon for a long time, so I know I'm not getting these names right. It says, in addition to these aspects, the gameplay features a rendition of the original Gym Leader battle themes from Pokemon Red and Blue, as well as battle cries that appear to be stripped directly from existing Pokemon games. The suit closed as Guangzhou Maki Network Technology. It's such a long name for no reason. Anyway, and its parent company issued an apology accepting wrongdoing. The statement further expresses that those involved in the infringement of intellectual property rights belonging to the Pokemon Company and related rights holders have reflected on the consequences of their actions, ultimately learning important lessons that will keep them from making the same mistakes in the future. I mean, when you name a game Pocket Monster, it's going to have Pokemon stuff in it because the first games in the Pokemon series in Japan was called Pocket Monsters. So
that's what Pokemon translate to is Pocket Monster.
Exactly. Yeah. So it was from just the name, you knew it was going to copy Pokemon. I'm surprised they didn't get him for the name.
Yeah, that's what I was surprised that they didn't technically sue over because I'm just like, it's literally the copy and paste of the name, just obviously spelled out.
I mean, Pokemon Pocket Monster. I mean, that's what Pokemon is. Like I said, in Japan, the cartridges for Red, Blue, and Yellow literally said Pocket Monsters instead of Pokemon. So,
yeah, it's just insane that companies will try because that one's, I mean, definitely blatant.
Yeah.
And even having your Pokemon names the same as the actual Pokemon themselves.
Yeah.
Because Clefairy is a first gen Pokemon.
Yeah.
So that's been around since the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't throw 2 words on the beginning of it and keep the same name and expect it to be something different. At least in Palworld's aspect, they at least named them something different.
Yeah, and you can definitely tell that Palworld inspired some of their pals from, but they're not like direct ripoffs. Like they do look a little different. And like I said, they changed the name at least.
Yeah. Instead of just adding words to the name.
Yeah. Yeah,
they
adding words
basically-
to the name technically doesn't change the name if that name is still in there.
No, definitely not. They basically gave him a first and a middle name and just said that its current name is its last name.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess technically in Japanese culture or Chinese culture, because they usually put the last name last. So in theory, they technically just kept the first name and then just named it two other things after that.
Yeah.
Because that's why, like Yao Ming for basketball, that's the reason why on the back of the jersey it said Yao.
Right. Yep.
Because they put their first name first. So, well, yeah, they would use their first name as the last name.
Yeah.
So,
right. Yep.
in a reverse standpoint, it'd be Clefairy, whatever the world you wind up saying on those.
Yeah. I don't.
You had a hard time pronouncing them. I'm going to have a hard time pronouncing.
I don't. And that their stupid name is ridiculously long. It's four
words.
words.
GMNT.
And
Can be a teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, put a
Quanzu
G in there.
Network. Like they could have just made it Quanzu Maki Network, but then they added technology after that.
Yeah. Could have abbreviated the GMNT to like Ninja Turtles, but not as good.
Yeah. But then Ninja Turtles would have got them for trying to fake their name or something.
Yeah, the GMNT.
GMNT instead of TMNT.
They'd have been safe a little bit.
Yeah.
No, they would have called it TMNT though, because, Pocket Monsters, Ninja Turtles, Pokemon,
They're all the same.
they're all the same. Not by different people, but basically the same concept.
Yeah.
That is all the time we have for today. For today, thank you for watching or listening. Follow our socials on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, merch on Redbubble and TeePublic. I think that's it.
Yep. I think that's it.
All right. Later, guys.
Catch you guys next week.
All you homeowners have unique needs. Some feel the need to leave up holiday decorations year-round. Others have the need to use their garage as practice space for their new metal band. And because each homeowner has unique needs, Geico helps you get the right coverage for your home and what's in it. That way, you get exactly what's right for you, even if your needs are unique. Get more with Geico.